Hey, you beautiful people. This is Kristen. Welcome to my channel. Today I have what I like to call a moment of sanctuary, where I have experienced the mixing of the sacred into the ordinary. I have a story I would like to share of a lesson shown to me back in 2012 on a return trip to Brazil. And the team was going down. It was really bad weather out of Washington, D.C. We were flying out of Dulles Airport, and we got stuck on the tarmac for over 2 hours in the plane waiting to take off. And we were flying into Brazil through Colombia. And when we got to Colombia, the plane connecting flight for our group had already boarded and was starting to pull out of the gate. And I thought, because we were a group of 22, that maybe they would hold the plane or let us on, because that's a pretty large group to have to, readjust if the plane hasn't quite left yet. But they actually only have one flight a day from Colombia to Brazil. And I think in hindsight, they probably booked that flight full at the last minute. And we were then in Colombia for 24 hours. Now I have to disclose that even though I knew the itinerary of how we were traveling, I had not prepared to research or study or know anything really about Colombia ahead of time, because we were only supposed to be there an hour and a half to 2 hours on the ground, which of course was why we were missing the connection. But I had some preconceived notions that kind of came out through this experience. For whatever reason, maybe Hollywood, maybe the news stories, but I immediately started thinking about drug stories and war and machine guns and tanks and all these images of just really negative things. And I look around, the airport looks very safe, and I'm thinking to myself, we're going to spend 24 hours in this airport. It's not a whole lot of furniture or extra space to kind of sleep. And at this point, it's about 11, 12 o'clock at night. And so it's starting to be time to, think about where we're going to even sleep. And so I'm looking around, and I kind of have this one kind of hallway area that's kind of tucked away that I'm thinking, okay, we can take some shifts and kind of make up some makeshift beds in this area. And the employees of the airline come find me as the group leader and say that they have a shuttle bus ready to take us to a hotel, and they'll pay for it, and they'll feed us, and all these things that I hadn't even figured out how I was going to manage. And I was like, okay. So we went on this bus to what I think locally was a 4 or 5 star even establishment. We went to a nice restaurant where we were given the choice of beef or chicken or fish, and they fed us. There was a big tub of breadsticks on each table, and by this point it is now 1:30 in the morning, and one of my co-leaders is trying to get the kids to kind of calm down, because we've kind of gotten into that point of overly tired, and she picks up the breadstick to make her point, and the breadstick shatters across the table, and we're all just like laughing, cleaning up the breadstick, but laughing nonetheless, just kind of in relief that we had been in this place that we hadn't anticipated, that we hadn't known, and here we are receiving abundant hospitality. And honestly, that continued for the next 24 hours. Everybody that we encountered was helpful and gracious, and we even made friends with the clerk, one of the gracious young women at the reception, who helped us arrange a short tour on a tour bus to even see some of Colombia. And it was actually a very powerful experience, because I even personally was confronted with a lot of my own misgivings and my misperceptions of another people group. And I find that we do sometimes do that out of fear and out of trying to use some common sense to keep ourselves safe, because this world is not always entirely safe and always looking out for each other's best interests. There's people that are living not so helpfully. So you do have to have some common sense, but I think we can broaden our perspective to just see people and expect the good until proven otherwise. And I left with a very warm, positive feeling, and thinking that if I knew my hosts and I had relationship with someone in Colombia, I wouldn't mind going back to Colombia or even serving on a mission there. That it was just a place that was particularly probably more helpful than a lot of places in the US that we might have ended up. So if by chance, and so I'm publishing this publicly, you are from Colombia or have any ties there, I apologize for my misperceptions on your people group, and I thank you for the beautiful hospitality that you shared with me and that valuable lesson. And it was a powerful lesson for my entire group, just to think about and to process and to admit our own fears and our own prejudices and work through that and even apply that to what it meant for the rest of our lives. And it was this beautiful understanding and this new partnership and these new almost, love and new friendship of the people of Colombia. May you on this day remember that you have been also fearfully and wonderfully made, with all opportunities to see all people as also fearfully and wonderfully made. May you lean into your own moments of sanctuary. Thanks.